All right. Welcome back, family. Back for another video today. First of all, I want to thank everybody for sticking with me yesterday as I battled through my technical difficulties trying to perform a YouTube live stream. The technical difficulties were numerous, and people were reporting their screen had frozen, there was lagging, and when I went back and looked, yeah, it was not a good live stream. So I'm not too discouraged, but I do want to get better at this. So today I'm doing a little bit different approach. I'm recording this ahead of time, and I'm going to upload it not as a live stream. So if you're seeing this, it was pre-recorded, and I might do it as a premiere, and that way I can be in the chat section as the video plays, and I'd be able to interact with the people in the chat a little bit better. It's kind of hard when it's live. For me anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on. So, but thanks again for everybody for sticking with me, and I hope to improve at this and make the experience a little bit more enjoyable for the viewer, and get you keep coming back. So today what I thought I would do is go over a previously uploaded video of mine on YouTube called Construction Photographs of the 1898 Trans-Mississippi and International Exposition, also known as the Omaha, Nebraska World's Fair. And for those that don't know, my home state is Nebraska. I grew up there, lived there for 40 years. So I have a connection to the topic. And, you know, in our community, we see a lot of videos and presentations on World's Fairs. It's a very popular topic. Some channels that come to mind are John Levi and Martin Liedtke. I remember seeing lots of World's Fairs video there, and it always impressed me. UAP, he's another one. All three of those doing great work on World's Fairs. But I was always, when I would see those videos, this is before I was making videos, I would always leave messages in the comments and trying to tip people off to the 1898 World's Fair in Omaha, Nebraska. And I never saw any videos come about on the topic. So that was pretty much the catalyst. That's what got me into making videos. So that was a good thing, I hope. But I've got a series of videos. There's about 9 or 10 on the topic of the 1898 Omaha World's Fairs. And if you want to check those out, they're in my catalog in the videos over at here on the Bill Miller Flip channel. This particular video is one of the more popular ones that I've noticed on my channel. It's gotten 3,800 views, which is a lot for my channel. So somebody out there, people out there have enjoyed this and watched it. So what it is a slideshow of probably 100 photographs from the construction of the World's Fair in Omaha. And so if we go along with the mainstream narrative, this World's Fair went from basically prairie land, bluff land, untouched, and went to a fully built out World's Fair in 8 months. So there was trees, there was no plumbing, there was no gas, there was no electric, there was nothing. And within 8 months, working through a Nebraska winter, which is very harsh climate, they were able to turn it into a completed and ready to go World's Fair city. And I haven't found any photographs of the work actually being done. But we get a lot of photographs of scaffolding and the buildings in various states of construction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video, and I will leave a link in the description, and you can go and watch that video at your leisure. And there is a soundtrack to it. There's some time appropriate music that kind of harkens back to the 1890s, and this was early on in my video slideshow making endeavor. So it's pretty basic, but the photographs are good. So I'm going to roll it, and I'm going to add some narration as we go. So again, went from completely barren land needing to be cleared to a fully built out city in 8 months. So some of the photographs have timestamps that we assume to be true. Of course, those could be not accurate. Some of the photographs, some of the buildings look different in some of the different photographs, and some have, some theories that have been out there are that the World's Fair city was already there, and the photographs are actually the deconstruction of the World's Fair, of the buildings, everything in reverse. Other theories are that, some of these are models with people, photoshopped in. There was a massive lagoon there that I can't remember how many millions of gallons it was, but it was huge. So again, a Nebraska winter, if you're working outside, the Nebraska winter lasts for a good 3-4 months, and it slows down your any kind of exterior work, slowing things down to, a pretty good slowdown. So during the 8 months of this construction, half of it would have been during the winter, making it extra challenging. But apparently that didn't slow down the crew, because they were able to take barren land and turn it into a fully built out World's Fair city in 8 months, and ready for the opening in June of 1898. So we get lots of good photographs of buildings in different states. I haven't found any photographs of anybody on the scaffolding or swinging a hammer or anything like that. It's you do get some where maybe they're driving the pilings in for the foundations, but these guys are on top. There's a couple of them, but they don't look like they're. So the photography was, documented well. I don't know what size of crew would be needed to pull off something this large, but just one of those buildings to complete in 8 months would be, a feat. But now we're talking dozens and dozens of buildings that needed to have their foundations laid. Gas and electric needed to be run through there, because it was an electrified World's Fair. And not only the exteriors of the buildings were completed in that 8 months, but we're also talking about the interiors. The interiors were full of very elaborate displays. And I do have a video on the interiors if you'd like to check that out. The interiors were fully completed as well, and they were ready to go in June of 1898. So not only did the buildings need to be built, but the insides need to be completed and finished and furbished, and the display makers would have had to have been in there and had those completed in time for the opening in June of 1898. Just going to check my audio levels. I know that was an issue yesterday, so just bear with me as the photograph slideshow plays. All right. Okay. Sometimes there's a delay in what I'm saying and what the audio is coming out in my headset, so it kind of makes it hard to talk sometimes. So bear with me. So the cameraman must have come around on the weekends or days that the work wasn't being completed, because we don't get a lot of shots of the construction itself. People standing around and posing for a photo opportunity, sure. Very, very early on there, that says November of 1897. The person speaking the speech is William Jennings Bryan. He was a former governor of Nebraska. Now here, I mean, it looks like a completed building, but there is some scaffolding. Could this have been a structure from the old world, the previous civilization, and they just found it and cleaned it up a bit and put it on display in a World's Fair? Sure. I mean, another thing to consider is that they didn't save anything from this World's Fair. There are no remaining buildings. They didn't save anything, and they just moved on. So you can't go down to the site in Omaha and check out the buildings because they've simply gotten rid of them. So there we have frozen, the lagoon is frozen over. People out on the ice skating. Looks like that tag says January 23. And at this point, there would be a lot of work left to do outside. Looks like there's still scaffolding going on. It's just hard to fathom how big of a crew would be needed to get this stuff done in time for the opening in June of 98. Let's continue. Looking very old world. the top hatters coming through for a survey. Boom. I mean, I know that our forefathers, our great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers were very talented people and, you know, had the skill to construct things. I just couldn't find, you know, that many convincing photographs of how big of a crew it would be needed to pull this off in an 8-month period. And the final product is a fully built out World's Fair city with electric and gas and displays and promenades and everything. It was just a massive undertaking. I think it was 100 acres of land that the World's Fair took place on. I mean, a building like that for a crew, I mean, you'd be lucky. I mean, to get that done in 8 months with all of the amenities inside and outside. But then we're talking dozens and dozens of buildings. I mean, we're talking with thousands of carpenters. Not to mention that the Midway had rides and amusement park rides and all that sort of things, and that needed to be constructed too. So the theory that these, you know, some of the World's Fairs, you do get the sense that the buildings were old world buildings left over from the previous civilization, and they cleaned them up and they called them a World's Fair, and as soon as they were over, they demolitioned them and saved a few buildings here and there, altered the appearance of those, so it made it very hard to get a sense of how old they were. I mean, there's with these photographs, it does look like there is construction, or are they simply taking it apart piece by piece to reuse the building materials? It's hard to say. I mean, I wasn't there. I couldn't tell you for sure. Just a big job. I mean, how many people would it take to build that structure there in an 8-month period, working through a winter? I mean, it's a good-sized crew. Did they break down the crews into each crew had a building? Or did the whole crew just finish a building and move on to the next building? Because there's a lot of finish work too. Any carpenter will tell you that to finish work is very time consuming to get it right, and especially interior, you know, when you get the finer points and it comes into view and people have a closer look at it to get it right. You need to spend your time doing finished carpentry. It just doesn't cut a board and slap it up. If you were here yesterday, you will remember that Roger, my cat, made a cameo appearance, and he may be on his trip up here. I'm not sure. He's in the area, so. I'm working on the delay here. That's a little better. That's good. So if this is something that interests you, I do have a series of 9 videos on the 1898 Trans-Mississippi and International Exposition in Omaha, Nebraska up on my YouTube channel, Bill Miller Flip. This one's the construction photographs that I found. There's one that's called The Midway. There's one that's called Buildings and Displays. So I try to cover every aspect of this World's Fair and, to give everybody a sense of what was going on here. The thing that really just jumped out at me is the time frame that we're given. So, allegedly they broke ground in October of 1897, and 8 months later, the World's Fair is open and everything's done and ready to go. That to me raises a lot of red flags. I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't possible, because there's a lot of talented carpenters and engineers. In the 1890s, the workforce would have been smaller. There wasn't as many skilled labor hands around. You would have had to have drawn from a pool from all over the country, if not other countries, to bring them in and get this job done. Building a lagoon that size would take quite a bit of effort. So I'm hoping today's video went better than yesterday's, and I'm hoping to improve on each one. And as I mentioned, this was previously recorded. If you're seeing this on YouTube, doing the live stream is challenging, and getting I really struggled with the bit rate. That's a big one, and the resolution numbers, so that it's something enjoyable to watch and listen to. Some of my videos, I just have a soundtrack. Not everybody wants to hear me ramble over the top of stuff, so one idea is to have one video with just a nice soundtrack, and I put some effort into the soundtrack. So if you got it playing in the background, you can at least hear some nice music, and you don't have to have me talking. And then a version with some narration. And for now, I'm sticking with this version of playing the video in my LiveStream software, OBS, and doing the narration as it plays as a good option. Hopefully it's a good option to help present my previous works, and I hope that they've been enjoyable, and I continue to make new videos, and I'm always looking for new ideas and branching out and meeting new people and seeing other people's works and having my works be seen. And it's been exciting, and there's a lot of good stuff in the community right now. A lot of good evidences out there for the alternate history theories, and just a lot of good information out there. And I like seeing new information, and I like sharing new information. So with that, I'm going to wrap up, and hopefully levels were good, and this was something enjoyable, and it'll be up on YouTube. And if it works out good, I'll premiere it tonight, and I should be in the chat, able to chat with you, and we'll go from there. But with that, I'm going to sign out, and everybody have a good day, and we will see you on the next one.